Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another session of the Breakthrough Summit. In this session today, first of all, actually, let me talk to you about what we do. We are DORKAS of RCCG Impact Centre in Bicester, Oxfordshire, and we are the DORKAS community. And basically, we try to partner with our local pastors, our parents, families, children in the development of the next generation of Christian leaders who will impact their communities. So we do this Breakthrough Summit, which is every second Saturday of every month, where we bring our friends, family, neighbors, even colleagues to share knowledge or to know more on how we can have our personal growth and development. So this is why this is our mission, and this is why we meet every second Saturday of the month. And today we will be talking about financial empowerment, and we have our guest speaker today, who is Sister Oyenike Adetoye. Sister Oyenike is not new to us, as she was here 2 years ago, November, almost 2 years ago actually, to speak to us about how we can cope with the cost of living crisis when things were really expensive at that stage. And Sister Oyenike is an experienced, impactful speaker and author of many books on personal finance, and she's the founder of a private financial firm which educates a lot of people on financial fitness, wealth management. She coached us on how to survive then, or how to cope with the financial crisis, and that helped us a lot, including me. And I also learned one or two things back then on how we can finish paying our mortgage early on. So, it's something that I learned from her. And today, Sister Oyenike will be impacting us on financial empowerment, themed Lifted Finals. This session promises to be impactful and educative again, and we will know how we can improve or elevate our financial situation. So I want to say a big thank you again to Sister Oyenike for coming to us to share more knowledge, to share more stuff on finances, on how we can elevate our finances, and I'll yield the mic to you. Thanks again, Sister Oyenike. You're welcome.
Thank you so much, Doc, for having me. So I call you Doc. It's such an honor to be here again. Yes, 2 years ago, it looks like yesterday. Well, for you to have me back, I'm full of gratitude. I was kind of making a joke before we started that I must have done something right the first time for you to invite me back. It's always um, it's always a blessing to be a blessing to the body of Christ and to the community. A big thank you to Pastor James, the the shepherd in the house that God has been using, and a big thank you to you, Dr. Dolapo, as well, for this vision. And this vision is huge, and you're doing a good job, doing a good job in impacting the community and also being a blessing to everyone around us. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Today we're going to talk about money, and money is quite important. So, when I was given today's date, I wasn't given any topic. It was just financial empowerment. It was just financial education. So I had to find a way of giving it a title. I'm going to just quickly share my screen. So while I was preparing and putting the slides together, I decided to give it a title. Um, I give it a title called Financial Empowerment. I'm just sharing my screen. I hope you can all see my screen. Yes, good. I want today to be very, very interactive. I want us to use this 1.5 hours I want it to make it productive. See, a lot of things I'm going to share today are going to be my own lived personal experience that I'm actually just really hoping we will all glean from, we will all learn one or two things from. A lot of the things I'm going to share with you all today, I'm hoping if you do listen, if you do take action on them, it's going to change the trajectory of your finances. Because then at some point in my life, I listened to someone talk to me about financial empowerment. And that stirred something from inside of me to want a change in the way I was living at the time. So I'm going to be sharing a lot of my personal story, my journey, how far I've come. I'm not there yet. I'm still on this journey, but I've come from a very low um, life of debt, living paycheck to paycheck, struggling, always broke, to a position where I am today, where I've actually been lifted. God is blessing me, and I've been a blessing to so many. So I title today Financial Empowerment. I want you to make use of the chat. Um, I am a person of faith, and I've been praying for today's session that nobody that is under the sound of my voice, either is going to join in live or is going to listen to the recording, will live the same way. So I'm hoping that you're going to take something out of this session that will be transformational. And I always look forward to hearing the testimonies and the good news that come out of sessions like this. Let's make use of the chat facilities. If I'm speaking, if any question comes to your mind before you forget it, type it out. And I do promise we're going to address all questions today. And if we are unable to address all questions, Dr. Dolapo, I'll be back again. That is another promise. Okay. So today I will start by just telling you a little bit about myself. I've been before, but for those that just joined in for the first time, my full name is Oyenike Adetoye. Many people call me Nike. I'm married. I've been married to my amazing husband for 22 years. 22 years. This August that just passed, we celebrated our 22nd wedding anniversary. It's been God all the way. I'm a proud mom of two beautiful girls. A 20-year-old, she's currently in her third year in the university, studying philosophy and law. And then I have a 12-year-old who is currently in year 8 in secondary school. Blessed with these two beautiful girls. I am a management accountant by profession. I still work in corporate. And I'm also the founder of Lifted Finance Consulting. So I always see myself as a personal finance educator and a coach. So a lot of things I'm going to share with you are from the standpoint of education. So this is not financial advice, but I'm just really hoping that my lived experience and a lot of knowledge I've acquired over the years will be able to bless and impact you in a positive way. I am also an author, and by the grace of God, I have written 17 books. 17 books. I think the last time I was here, I say I've written 10 books then. So I've written 7 more after that. And I'm currently writing book number 18, which is about retirement planning. I call it the sunset years. So book number 18, I'm working towards publishing that around December time. So it's just been a journey. All the books are on Amazon. Towards the end, I'm going to share the slide, and I'll share with Dr. Dolapo. I can share it onto all of us. But if you click on this Amazon there, it takes you directly to where all the books are on Amazon. And that's a little bit about me. So today, I'm within the confinement of the time we have. I'm just going to break the agenda into just 3 bullet points and then Q&A. We're going to talk about money issues, which is always a starting point when we're having a discussion about money and finances. And we're then going to talk about what exactly is financial empowerment, which is the topic of today. And then we're going to deep dive, spend a lot of time on how can I be financially empowered, because that is the focus of this session. And we're going to wrap up with questions and answers. Okay. I'm going to start by telling you all this story. If you've ever had me speak before, you probably have heard the story, but it's just a story that has a pivotal moment that changed the trajectory of things in my personal life. So a personal story of a season when I was just always broke. I don't know. We're going to talk about money issues in the next slide. The money issues I had, it was chaotic at the time. I was working, but I had nothing to show for it. As in, I was working very, very hard, but the salary was just never enough to cover all the expenses and all the bills. I was in debt, had credit card debt, had a car loan. I went back to school. I've got loaned for my studying, and it was just a very a very low season, that before the salary is paid at the end of the month, everything is gone to service all those debt. That at the end of the day, I had nothing, very little to survive. I find myself resulting back to overdraft and resulting back to credit cards for me to actually survive every month. It was a very challenging season. I'm sharing the story to encourage someone here. Probably you are currently experiencing that, have been there. And then hopefully the end of the story, which is going to be a very positive one, we encourage you that you too, you get through this because it's a season. So at that season, I needed petrol in my car, and then I checked my bank account. I had £30 remaining, and I think that was just around the middle of the month. So you can just imagine the kind of catastrophe my life was at that time financially. So at the middle of the month, I only had £30 remaining to survive till the end of the month, which was which was a norm at that time. So I needed to buy petrol, and I, I worked it out in my head. I'm gonna top up my fuel for £20, and then hopefully survive £10 with, of course, credit card and overdraft to survive the month. So I drove myself to the nearby petrol station, very close to home. And I don't know about you, but when you don't have enough money in your in your account, you just don't put the nozzle in and just allow things to run. I was very, very careful, looking at the meter reading and clicking, and ensuring I did not exceed £20. And when I think it was £20 and 80 pence, it exceeded a little bit, I stopped and I drove myself to the pay point where I was supposed to make payment for the fuel I bought. And I remember giving my debit card to the lady at the pay point, and then she swiped my card, and my card was declined. And she said, "Madam, your card has just been declined." I said, that's not possible because I checked." This kind of confidence. I checked before I left home. There was money on that card. I'm sure I had £30 in it. And the woman said, "Can you please try again?" And this Asian woman tried one more time. And she said, "No joy, madam. Your card is still declined." And I looked, I said, "What is going on with me?" And the ladies looked at me and she felt very sorry for me. In fact, she shook her head. She said that cases like yours, there's a way we handle it. Do you mind pulling over? So I pulled over, and she told me that, and she gave me a form. You see, up until that day, I never knew this form existed. You never knew about that form. So she gave me a form to fill. The form is called No Means to Pay form. And she told me I have 48 hours to make the payment, £20, 80 pence, to make the payment. Otherwise, they're going to pursue legal action against me. So I left that petrol station that day crying. In fact, I was wailing. Apart from the fact that, number one, I was embarrassed. Number two, I was just tired. When you get to that pivotal moment when you've just had enough of tired of living a life of, it was a struggle. It was a struggle. And I know the scriptures. I am a child of God. I know the promises of God. And when it comes to your finances, you're supposed to lend to nations. You're not supposed to borrow. I wasn't living it. I know the scripture, they say he's able to do exceedingly abundantly above we ever asked. I've been asking for a very long time, but I couldn't see the manifestation of all those promises. And I just cried. I cried all the way home that day. And I said, "God, my situation must change." That was a pivotal moment in my life. That was a season when I just said, I cannot continue to live like this anymore. So what did I do? In case you are curious and know what happens to the £30. Okay, let me tell you what happened. And I got to know what happens to the £30 I thought I had. Shortly after I checked my bank account, a good old direct debit just came and just swiped that £30 I thought I had. So at the time when I was actually buying my fuel, I had nothing in that account. The account wasn't red. So that's exactly what happened. I share this testimony to tell you how far I've come. Because that lady that couldn't pay for £20, £80 fuel several years ago, that's standing right in front of you now. If I want to buy any amount of fuel right now, in any petrol station around me, I can afford it. So you're asking that, what did I do? What changed? How did I do it? That is the point we're talking about today. And the only answer for you, apart from the spiritual part, the physical part of what I did was I made sure I empowered myself financially. That is all I did. Financial empowerment. That's why I'm so passionate about this topic today, because I strongly believe that if you all take everything we're going to discuss here on board, you will see changes, just like I saw changes. I'm nowhere where I was. The person you're saying now is a completely new individual. Thank God for those journey. But it's a learning curve that's propelled me to a life of abundance that God has allowed me to enjoy in this season. So let's go straight into money issues. See, all these money issues, as I was doing the slide last night, I was smiling because I've experienced every single one of them. Indebtedness. I was in debt for a very long time. This lady in front of you has got no debt hanging around the shoulder. You know, when Dr. Dolapo was speaking, he said that she talked about mortgage freedom. I don't even the mortgage house we're living, we've got no mortgage on it, it's fully paid for. So indebtedness, if she can do it and be debt free, you and me, we serve the same God. We're supposed to enjoy and live that kind of experience as well. Not earning at all or not earning enough. Living paycheck to paycheck, always broke. No savings, no investment, no retirement plan, chaotic life with no future financial plan, overspending, underspending. When I read that last one, I smiled because that's another problem. Someone would tell me it's a good problem to have, that you have so much money that you don't even know how to enjoy your life. You don't know how to spend money, right? God is teaching me a lot of lessons on this journey. So these are money issues. And the one big secret that will shift your trajectory from from one level when it comes to having money issues to a place of abundance. When money issues is thing of the past, is something we're going to talk about tonight. That is what I call financial empowerment. I describe or define financial empowerment as being you being fully informed about financial matters. I mean, you are not ignorant about financial matters. I mean, you have the knowledge to effectively manage your finances and make wise financial decisions. Knowledge, they always say, is power. You are equipped with that know how, that knowledge for you to be able to manage your finances and make good decisions. You have the right strategies. We're going to talk a little bit about strategy. What pushed me of having almost 30 something thousand in debt to have zero debt is a strategy to handle unexpected financial challenges, that you are in full control of your money. Your money wasn't is not controlling you. Financial empowerment isn't about how much you have. See, I do in my consulting firm, I do a lot of financial I do a lot of financial filing for companies and organizations and for individual and small business. And so many people earn a lot of money, but they still live paycheck to paycheck. And I see some people have very small in terms of income coming in. And they do amazing well. They have like a real estate investment. They're doing this in little parts. So it's not about how much money you have, but actually how you having the intellect and the knowledge on how to manage and how to handle what you have. That is what financial empowerment is all about from the top level. Now, I wrote it here that a financially empowered person has a full knowledge of his current financial position. I'm going to go through these three bullet points in a bit in more details. You have the full knowledge of where you are. You have a vision of where you want to be, and you have a goal, plan, and strategy to take you from where you are to where you want to be. So there was a season I was so much in debt. I have my problem at the time, my current financial situation was indebtedness. And I have a vision of where I want to be in that season. I wanted to be debt free. And the third step is, how are you going to achieve that goal of being debt free? You have the goals, you have the plans, you have the strategy to take you from where you are to where you want to be. A financially empowered person tick all the boxes when it comes to all this. Okay. The next slide, I have three key questions for you, which covers those three bullet points. Ask this question, where are you? Where are you? I don't mean your physical location. I mean where you are. What's your financial position? You see, Adam, God asked Adam this question in Genesis chapter 3. He asked him, sorry, I'm bringing a lot of Bible into here because I am a child of God. God asked Adam in Genesis chapter 3, he asked him that, where art thou? And Adam asked the Lord, told God, he said, I heard thy voice in the garden and I was afraid because I was naked and I hid myself. You see, when it comes to your finances, you can't answer like that. You cannot say you're hide. You can't hide. You have to know exactly your current financial. That's always a starting point. Where are you? Where do you want to go? What are your goals? What are your visions? What do you want to achieve? And how do you get there? What are your working plans? What are your implementation? So the question of how do I become financially empowered entails answering those three questions. How do I become financially empowered? That my finances or my life, my financial position is going to positively change from where it was before, from chaos to clarity. Entails answering all those three questions. And we're just going to run through those questions one by one. The first question is, where are you? I'm going to sit here for a little bit. I'm just going to be practical. Where are you? I love the story of, I always share. There's a while back, I went to see my friend in Tamworth. Tamworth is a little town in West Midlands. And it's a 2 hours drive from where I live in Reading. So I drove down to Tamworth. And, I use a sat nav. So I put the postcode on the sat nav. And I remember getting to a point, the sat nav said, you have now reached your destination. I looked, I was like, no, 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 no. I could hear some cows mooing at the side. I was right in the middle of nowhere in the countryside. And I definitely knew that was where I was going. So what did you think I did? I picked up a call. I picked up thank God I still had signal. I called my friend Gloria. I said, Gloria, I think I'm lost. And you can just guess what Gloria will have asked me. Gloria asked that, where are you? Where are you is a significant question she asked, because she knows that if she knows the position where I was, she will be able to guide me to how to get to a house, which was my destination. So I'm flipping this back to our personal finance, and I'm asking you that same question. Where are you? What is your current financial position? How much do you earn? You see, these are questions that you're supposed to have answers to on top of your head. If you have never done this exercise, trust me, I want you to do it. This slide is going to be given out to everybody. So you can relook at it and just try and answer each of these questions yourself. How much income am I making? It's important to know that, because there was a season I said I was working so hard, but the money wasn't enough. If the income you're making is not enough, then that is the problem. That is the financial goal you need to focus on. How can I increase my earning capacity? What can I do to increase my wealth making potential from where I am now to where I want to be? It was so tough at the time. I was working. I was doing like 2, 3 jobs, but it wasn't still cutting it. I was earning, and I was like, I wasn't paid what I deserved. So I started looking at ways to increase my income. And I have to point it out here. The multiple streams of income when it comes to financial empowerment, when it comes to financial freedom, is encouraged. In fact, nobody should have just a single stream of income. And I will explain a little bit about multiple streams. In fact, that's a big topic on its own. So at that season, I just wasn't earning enough. And I started thinking of, what can I do? If you're able to add one more job that will not impact your health, your mental well-being, can you try and cope and do extra hours? Can you try and change job? Because I had to do that. I had to change my job. And I'm going to share the story of how I changed my job. Because when I changed my job, my salary literally doubled. So you can imagine someone earning like 25,000, you change job and you start earning 50,000. It's no brainer when it comes to your finances. You become more empowered to be able to do more things that you're struggling to do when you're not earning enough. So I need you to work out, how much am I earning? how much income is coming in. If you need to go back and learn a trade or go back to school, I'm currently back to school studying for a management program in finances as well, just to acquire more knowledge. So when I'm speaking to you, because I do the speaking a lot, I will know what I'm talking about. I will be talking from the level of from the level of intellect. I'll be talking to you from the level of she knows what she knows her stuff. So if you need to go learn, go learn. I have a friend. Sorry, I'm sitting a little bit on earning because income problem is the majority of the problems a lot of people have. So a lot of people don't have, some people have spending problem. Income problem is always a major one. So a friend of mine told me a while ago, she had twins, two beautiful babies. And she actually couldn't go back to work because by the time she walked out, how much the nursery fee would cost to put those two babies in the nursery. It wasn't, her salary did not even cover it. So she and her husband had decided that she's going to stay at home and look after these babies until they're 2 years old. But at that time, things became very, very tight in their household. It became so tight that she reached out and she broke down, that she felt really helpless, that as husband's salary alone is not enough to carry the whole burden of the other expenses, and they still have a mortgage, they have two extra mouths to feed, they have so much responsibilities, bills to pay. And I asked her a simple question. I said, what can you do? She said, oh, there was a time she was learning how to do web designing. I said, you know what, go learn that web designing, go learn it and know it well. Be a mastery, be a subject matter expert in web design. When you finish learning, then come back to me and then we pray. So I'm a person of faith. I love prayers, but there's a lot of practicalities when it comes to your finances that you faith without work is continually like going to be dead. So she went to learn and finish this course. And then she came back, said, I finished. I said, so you can design a website? She said, absolutely. You see, when it comes to things like this, and increasing your income, you only need one customer. You only need to convince one client. And when your client is very, very happy, they're going to spread that news for you. They're going to be the one to do that work of marketing for you. And I think she got a contract with to build a small business, to do the website of a small business or a small church. And she did it. She did it. She did not even make much money out of it. But that was a launching pad she needed. As I'm speaking to you now, my friend has designed and developed website for almost 50 small businesses and churches. Now, within the comfort of her home, with her little babies just hanging around and crawling below her, she's earning what she would have normally earned in a month. She's earning it in a day. She's earning it in a week in the current job she's doing. And she's in full control over time. So what can I do to earn more? That is a question that you will ask yourself if you know how much you earn. How much do you spend? I love this a lot because actually a lot of people don't know how much to spend it. How much do you spend a day? How much do you spend a week? How much do you spend a month? In fact, print your bank statement. Bring your bank statement and look at where your money has been going. Because a lot of people are earning a lot, but they cannot see the effect of the money that is coming in. I did an exercise for a family not so long ago. They're earning well, both the husband and the wife. They're earning decent salary, but they're struggling to have savings. So I was like, where's your money going? So I did this exercise. I sent them a spreadsheet for them to put all the expenses and the value beside each of the expenses on a monthly basis. They've never done it. So they printed the bank statement, which I'm telling you to do. If you are married, do it as a couple. How much are we spending in a week? How much are we spending in a month? I'm particularly about spending as well because the secret to financial success is you spending less and earning more. And the gap, you save and invest it. That is how millionaires make their money. They spend less, they earn more. The gap, they make it as wide as possible. Those are extra cash that they have to save and invest. And that's how wealth multiply. Back to the story of this family. So I'm always looking for areas where I can spot out. in terms of where money is exceedingly been spent. And I saw one line about phone bills. So this family are spending around £520 every month on phone bills. And because I work for a telecoms company, I said, come in here, come and walk me through this line. How are you spending £520 on phone bills? And then the daddy started saying, they have 3 kids. All of them are on contract. They have the latest gadget. I said, Hey, I then asked him, I said, do you know how much I spend on my phone bill per month? He said, no, it doesn't. I said, could you please guess? He said, no, you can't guess. I said, okay, let me tell you. Right now, my phone bill per month, I'm on SIM only, is $5.99. He said, what? I said, yes, you heard me right. $5.99 per month is my SIM only phone bill at the time, at the time I was speaking to him. I said, everyone in my household, the 4 of us, our total phone bills is like £20. And you can just imagine me just spending £20. And they were spending £520 every month. I said, look, by the time I was done with them, I was able to cover over £920 that I told them they could do as they wish, either to save, either to invest, either to put towards a financial goal. Know where your money is going. If you're overspending, what can you do to cut down? I always talk about needs and wants, and I'll quickly pause and talk about that now. You see, we only have 4 needs, just 4 needs. 4 needs. Everything else I want. And I'll tell you what those 4 needs are. Number one, you need a shelter over your head. Shelter over your head is you need someone to lay your head and wake up. So that's the need. We need food. We need that fuel that keeps us going. So we need shelter, we need food. Yeah, that is a necessity. We all need that. We also need food shelter. We need basic clothing. I did not say designer wears. I did not say designer. I said basic clothing, right? Something to cover our dignity. Look, I can afford any designer wear you can think of, but I don't have a single item of designer wear. You can call me whatever name you call me, but I am where I am because of all those discipline I've enforced in my own personal life. Is he a need? Is he a want? You choose. So I've talked about basic clothing. I've talked about food. I've talked about shelter. The last need, and I categorize it personally as a need, is transportation. See, every day I commute like 100 miles to go to work and back to earn a living. So whether you commute or whether you go by train, anything that helps you to earn a living, moving from one place to is a need. Because without me having that money to be able to make those trips, I might not be able to earn a living. So I want you to see now everything else outside of those 4 brackets, personally to me, they are wants. I had a session with some youths a while ago. And when I was talking to them about needs and wants, one of the guys lifted up his hand. I said, yes, darling, what's your question? He said, auntie, Wi-Fi is a, is a need. I said, okay. Okay, we add Wi-Fi to the list. But whatever you categorize as your number 4, so be it. Everything else outside of those brackets, they are wants. The latest phone is a want. You only need a functional phone. You see, the late Sky and Netflix, they are wants. I don't even have time to watch telly. The latest car is a want. It is not a need. You only need a functional car. I want you to get all those priorities right when it comes to knowing your starting point. This exercise will open your eyes to see, wow, what can I do to cut down my spending? What can I do to increase my earning? The third question I want to ask you, how much do you have in savings? I'm hoping every one of us here, we are believers. If you're not believers, it's also good. Proverbs is a very good scriptures for you to learn to heart. So I love the scriptures when it talks about Proverbs 21 verse 20. It said, in the house of the wise are choices of foods and wine, but a foolish man, or if you're a woman, a foolish woman spend everything he earns. How can you not have a savings? You see, I've been in debt. While I was in debt, I was still saving. It's not as much as I'm saving now because I had so much extra now. But at that time, if I do extra shift here, 20 pounds there, I save it. 50 pounds there, I save it. If I go to a speaking engagement and they give me an honorarium, 70 pounds there, I save it. Get into this consistent habit of savings. And I'll tell you why savings is important. Because when emergency comes, and trust me, emergency will always come. You see, I'm a woman of faith, but when the Bible says, when you pass through the fire, when you pass through the water, it's not if, it is when. A time will come when when the tire will just go flat when you're not experiencing it. Don't start binding the devil. Yeah, they happen. They're part of challenges of life. A time will come during the winter when that boiler will just refuse to start. I say, ho, 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 boiler is changing. Emergency will always come. So what do? You prepare for emergency. This is why I'm always particular about savings. No matter how small, save. How can you be earning 1,000 every month and spend 1,000 pounds every month? That's Proverbs 21:20 said, you are a fool. I didn't say it. Solomon said it. So I want us, if you get something out of me today, if you are not having savings, start thinking. That's the starting point. How can I start saving? It's a life of discipline. You make yourself. It doesn't come naturally. I told you when I was in debt, I still have credit card bills to pay. I still have it, but this is me paying myself first. I dump 20 pounds in my savings account and I close my eyes to it. Because I know that when emergency comes and I don't have any money, what will happen again? I'll go back into debt. I'll start again to start spending credit card or going on overdraft. Save for emergency. I cannot stress it enough. Starting point is you knowing your credit score. Know it. If you know your credit score and it's not good enough, start finding out. What can I do to have a better credit score? There's some jobs you can never get if your credit score is poor. There's some houses you can never get rent if you're renting, if your credit score is poor. There's some, a friend of mine is trying to buy real estate investment at the moment. And she was telling me that the rate they're giving her, the interest rate is so high. And I was just thinking inside of me, one of the things that determine the rate you get when you want to borrow is the look at your past credit history. So your credit score has to be good if you live in this part of the world. So what can I do to have a better credit score? That is the starting point. What is your credit? It's free. Go find out online. It's free for you to know your credit score. What are your investment portfolio? Are you even investing at all? How much do you own? How much do you hold? What is your net worth? Net worth is the difference between your asset and your liability. I want you to do it as an exercise. If you're single, where am I? If you're married, where are we? The starting point is crucial in determining how financially empowered you will be at the end of the day. I've spent a lot of time there. I quickly go to the next question. Where do you want to be? It's a blank check, right? You see, when I was little, that's another story I love sharing. I think I was around 11, 12 then. If they ever asked me that, Nika, what would you like to be when you grow up? I always tell them I want to be a rich woman. This 12-year-old girl would say she wants to be a rich woman. In fact, there was a day that one man really looked me in the eye and said, you don't want to be a doctor? You don't want to be a lawyer? You don't want to be I said, I just want to be a rich woman. That is a little girl telling you that. And I'll tell you why I wanted to be. Because growing up, money was very, very tight in my household. I watched my mom go through so many jobs in order to put a hot meal in front of our 5 children every single day. It was tough. Money was very, very tight when I was growing up. And you know what? I always pray, as little as I was, that God make me a rich woman so that I can have enough money to help my mother. And not only my mother, but to help every other person out there that were struggling to give their kids 3 hot meals in a day. That was as tiny as I was. Where will you want to be? I say that to encourage you because this young lady speaking to you today, she's not only rich, she's on a path to great wealth. I was prophesying into my future right from that age of 12 years old. And I'm throwing that question back at you. Where do you see yourself? Where do you want to be? Do you want to be mortgage free? You are seeing someone that has a testimony of that because I've lived an experience in it. Do you want to be debt free? Do you want to you're tired of renting? You have your own property? Do you want to start a business? I just really want to throw it out to you. It's a blank check. Where do you see yourself in the next 12 months? Maybe you want to be able to clear this one of the credit cards. Write it down. I love Habakkuk. Habakkuk 2:4. It said that write the vision down, make it plain. Make it plain on a tablet that one who reads it will run with it. The vision is for an appointed time. It will not fail. Even if it delays, wait for it. It will come to pass. Write it down. That in the next 5 years, call the midterm goals. Where do you want to see yourself? You see, there was a season my husband and I, we had a goal in the next 5 years to clear our mortgage, and we proactively worked towards those goals. And today it's a testimony. Greater than 5 years, I call them long-term goals. Where do you want to be? And I say that a financially empowered person knows where they want to be. They just don't live anyhow. They have a goal. They have a vision, they have a dream, and they are proactively excited about that vision. See, I'll share this vision board I made for myself a while ago. I love sharing this just to encourage you. See, around that time when my finances was a complete mess, I wrote this vision board and I wrote my vision. And this is one of those things I used to pray. I wrote that I want to be financially free. I want to be debt free. I want to love God more. I want good health. In that season, I was always in and out of it. There's something about you not having money and always sick. In fact, it makes people sick when you're broke. All this negative, all this thought and stress adds to health issues. So I wrote it there, good health. I want to be able to give more. One of my personal vision in life is to be blessed, to be a blessing. But I cannot give what I don't have. So I said, I want to be able to give more. I want to be able to serve God. I want to be able to, want emergency fund, because at that time, I struggled to even have any savings. I said, I want to start my home business. I want to be able to believe in myself. I wrote it, I want to be able to learn how to swim. If you see me swimming now, you would think I started swimming when I was little. I learned how to swim when I was 40. But if you see me in the water now, you say, wow, she's good. Well, it was a vision that I set for myself. I want to be able to learn how to swim. I said I wanted to be able to go to the US by myself, solo retreat holiday. I'm telling you, it was a goal. Thinking about it, even this summer we went to New York on holiday. I've been to so many times to the US because as God is answering that question, that is this vision, and they're coming to fruition, I was crossing them and I was thanking God for the journey. I wrote it that I want to be an author. This was years ago that I didn't even know how to start. I just knew that there was just so much inside of me that I know I want to share with the world. I know that my physical location could limit me from reaching out my message to the world. So I said I want to write. At that time, I didn't know how to start. But this woman is writing her 18th book as I'm speaking to you. As God is doing it, I was crossing it out. I'm trying to pour positivity into you about having a dream. Where do you see yourself? I said, I want to pay off credit card. I want to love myself. I want to serve others. I want to start investing with little money. I said, I want to stay healthy. I want to be able to speak up. I said it jokingly before we started that Pastor James are one of my coaches that taught me how to speak. I remember my first speaking engagement. Pastor James would spot it out when I put pictures. Nika, you don't hold the mic as if you are singing. There's a way professional speakers hold the mic. So I said I want to be able to speak up and make an impact. My calendar is jam-packed with speaking engagement. Self-esteem, new jobs, promotion, and I wrote in the middle, our mortgage paid in full. All these are realities in my life today that God has made it happen. All started from where do you see yourself? Exercise today personally, as a family. Encourage your kids to do it as well. Where do you want to be in the next 12 months? Where do you want to be in the next 5 years? Where do you want to be long term? Write it down, make it plain. And the last one, because I'm conscious of time, is how do I get there? And this is really crucial. You see, a vision, I'm going to show it in the next slide. A vision without a working plan is just a dream. That's why I said the things I'm going to share with you today, if you listen to it, if you get to understand and comprehend it, and if you put them to action, your life will not remain the same again when it comes to your finances. The point there is taking action. You have a working plan of, okay, I want to be debt free. How do I do it? You have an idea of how to do it, then you go ahead and implement the plan. You take action. And along the way, as God is answering each of those prayers, you're checking on your progress and you're crossing that vision out. Track your progress. This is the third question in the jigsaw of how can I be financially empowered? How do I get there? I wrote it here that I have a plan. He who failed to plan to fail. A vision without a plan is just a dream. What's your plan to achieving your vision? Let me do a bit of scriptures. I love James chapter 2. Yeah. Let's start with James chapter 2. Faith without work is dead. So if you have all those dreams, if you don't put it into action, nothing happens. I love Luke 14:28. Luke 14:28 says, for which of you desiring to build a tower does not sit down and count the cost and check whether he has enough to complete it, lest his start is unable to finish and people start making jest of it. Look, you that's sitting down and counting the cost is you making a plan. Making a plan, okay, before I even start this project of building this house, how much have I got? Can I sustain myself? Otherwise, you're going to start, you're going to get into the middle and you're going to stop and people start laughing at you. So how do I get the right help on my journey? I wrote in the example that are becoming debt free. And these are practical steps that I went through. I love writing about debt so much. I love talking about debt so much because it's one of those things that inhibits or hinders you from achieving this thing called financial freedom. It actually just pulls you down. There's no amount of hard work you put in. If you don't handle your debt and put it at bay, it will always be that strongholds that pulls you down. So when I was working on my debt, I wrote it there that the steps I took is how much do I owe? Those are my plans. I asked myself, how much do I owe? So £30,000. Who do I owe it to? Halifax credit card, this credit card, this bank loan. What is the interest you are paying? And even if you owe it to brother A or sister B, list it. List everything. Add your mortgage to it. At that time when I did this exercise and added a mortgage to it, I think the balance of a mortgage around that time was 170,000. 170,000 plus my 30,000 debt. I say, God, I owe 200,000. I carry it on my head. I wrote the interest rate I was paying on each of them. This is you having a plan. And I started asking myself, can I reduce the interest rate? What is my debt-free strategy? There's strategy to clearing debt. What is my debt-free plan? How much can I realistically pay off weekly or monthly? And that is important, realistically. You see, while I was working on my debt, I told you I got a job that doubled my salary. While I was working on my debt, when I started, I was only able to just pay £500 every month in clearing my debt. But when my salary doubled, when I got a promotion, I got a better paying job, I was able to throw £1,000 in clearing my debt every single month. £1,000. So debt clearing that will have taken me 4 years to accomplish, within 2 years, I cleared all my debt. And that is one of those things that have a plan. What is the plan? Plan to increase my income so I can have enough extra cash to pump into clearing this debt. You see the beautiful thing about being debt free? Right now, I still have that £1,000. Do you know what I'm using it to do? Because I've got no debt. Do you know what I'm using it to do? I'm using it to build it for my future. I'm investing it. I'm giving into kingdom project. I have so much to do, amazingness, to spend this money on, because I am not pouring it into paying debt anymore. So I wrote it there, how can I increase my inflow to clear this debt quicker? How do I budget and track my expenses, ensuring I don't add new debt? One of the rules when you're working on debt is don't add any new debt. It must not increase. That number must never increase. It must keep decreasing. How do I keep my motivation up? It's important. Do I need a coach? Do I need an accountability partner? Who will encourage me on my journey? Have a plan. If we're to be doing this face to face, I'm going to turn to the person next to you and ask them, what's your plan? Yeah? Plan to get on the property ladder. What's your plan? You must have a plan. Plan to have emergency savings. What's your plan? Plan to start investing in the stock market. What's your plan? You must have a plan. And I will give some examples, some practical examples. that you currently don't have savings and you want to have 3 to 6 months emergency. That's always what they recommend. Have at least 3 to 6. First of all, have the initial emergency saving of like £1,000, put it somewhere handy, and then have at least 3 to 6 months emergency saving that could cover your monthly expense. You see, when COVID hit, one of the things that impacted a lot of people when COVID happened was because people don't have emergency savings, and a lot of people lost their jobs. So a lot of people, I always say, they are just at the edge of being of being on the street without without a house over their head, because they don't have this thing called savings. A lot of people are just one paycheck to their car being repossessed because they don't have this thing called emergency savings. When people lost their jobs, when they lost their source of livelihood, they realized that life became a struggle because they could not cope. They have so much been relying on that monthly income that without that monthly income, they could not survive. Emergency saving is important. In fact, everyone here, if one thing you're going to take out of here, even if it is £20, emergency saving, I need you to have a savings for. So this is me having a plan. So in the household, maybe the current expense is 1,200 every month. And I remember those needs to cover your accommodation, cover your utility bills, that covers all your feeding expenses or transportation, all of them. If you find out that roughly is £1,000, 1,200 in a month to survive, that is your monthly expense in terms of necessity. So this is you having a plan. If you start contributing, it means 3 months emergency saving, you need 3,600. If you start contributing £100 every month, and I put the consistency in red, consistently, £100 every month. I said I was very conservative. The interest rate on it is 2%. By the end of the third year, you will have had 3,600, more than 3,600. It's just about starting. If you say you want to push yourself to 6 months emergency savings, if you continue that consistency of £100 every month, within 6 years, you'll be 6 months emergency savings cover. In case anything happens to your job, that in the next 6 months, you'll be okay while you have enough time to look for another job, another source of income. You will not be struggling. You will not be begging from hand to mouth. You will not be a prayer point. GoFundMe on I'm tired of Christians putting GoFundMe for basic things. Have savings, please. Have savings. Everybody, please start small. It doesn't have to be £100. If it is 20, I told you, £20 here, I save it. £30 there, I save it. It doesn't have to be a lot, but it has to be consistent. And I wrote it there to automate your savings. So if you have a steady income, don't just say you will save whenever. No, you see, I call something autopilot. Set it as a standing order. As every month, maybe the first, you get paid on the first of every month, you get paid on the 30th, on the last day of every month. Set a standing order that on the first of every month, as that salary is eating your account, it's automatically going to the savings account. That you don't even have, make it difficult for you to be able to access it. You know, there's some account that doesn't even have a card. Those kind of accounts that you can only access with a lot of trouble login before you can access. That is the kind of account I want you to be dumping the savings account. Discipline, close your eyes, don't see. I'll give you a good example. When I started this process of saving several years ago, and I said £10 there, save it. I have this account that I've never even opened. I've not opened it for a very, very long time. For almost 3 years, I didn't open it. But I saw it as my saving port. I keep dropping money into it. So there was a time my younger sister, she needed to do a surgery in the US. And then we decided to pay out of pocket for the surgery. The all cost will cost us around $20,000. And then we decided, myself and my siblings, that we're gonna how much can you contribute? That's the question, because we're paying out of pocket. So how much can each of you contribute? That's when I realized that on a day, may we not be ashamed on a day when we need, when they are looking up to us to deliver. So at that day, I said, money was still tight, but I remember I have this savings I have not touched. The account, I actually don't even know the amount on it. But I consistently got into the habit of throwing money in that account. And for a very first time in almost 2.5 years, I logged into that account. In fact, I forgot the password. I had to reset and call customer service. You know, this kind of account that I made it so difficult for myself to be able to reach. And by the time I checked that account, I could not believe that me that was struggling to have savings, I had almost £9,000 saved up for within 2.5 years, consistently putting £20 there, £30 there, £40 there. I'm telling you, they had up. This is to encourage you. Automate it. Make it a habit. Make it a lifestyle that I need savings. This family needs savings. And at that time, I was able to put a big lump sum down. I said, okay, this is my contribution. I have it. I didn't have to borrow. I didn't have to use my credit card as my contribution. I paid it cash, my contribution. It was a big one. That yes, towards my sister's surgery. She's here. The surgery was successful. We thank God. But there's so many things we need money for that are important. Emergency, this is the plan. The taking action part is automated. Make it autopilot. Before you close your eyes and open it when your salary is paid, that amount is already gone to the savings account. I wrote another simple, practical one. See, I'm very passionate about investing. I even wrote 2 books about investing. That you want to invest £15,000. Have a plan. What's the plan? Just like we say, consistently saving, consistently get into the habit of investing as well. Firstly, open a brokerage account. That's always the starting point. That is the platform where you can buy and sell shares. And I always say, even if it is £50 per month, set it on autopilot. That at every month, you always contribute. That amount goes in there. I wrote it there that in 10 years, we are contributing just £100 and a decent 8%. And then return on investment fluctuates. It could be between 1% to even sometimes 38%. I logged into my investment account a couple of days ago. My return on investment is currently 38.8%. You can just imagine, I can never get that in a bank account savings. So I get into that. Have a plan. I went to a church not so long ago to minister. And while I was talking about the investment, this is about the taking action part. And they started asking questions. What platform? I told them Vanguard. I told them so many platforms. Do you know, before I finished the administration that day, one man on his phone, he opened a brokerage account with Vanguard. I was blown over. I said, what? This is really taking action. I do this talking all the time. I want to come back here, Dr. Dolapo, and I want to hear testimonies of so many transformations that's happened in the finances of people, because you're just not listening. You are acting on what you are learning. Okay? Take action. In 10 years, you will have had 19,000. I love speaking to youth. So I used to tell the youth, I said, if you consistently save £150 invest £150 every month, that's around £600 £150 every week. That's around £600 every month. Over 30 years, you are going to end up being a millionaire. It's that simple. Compound interest, let it do its magic and just forget it. Okay, I've said so much here. I need to wrap up. Now, as you're making the plans, let me roll back a little bit. As you're making a plan, you're implementing the plan, and then you're tracking the project, the progress. See, I always do something called MOT for myself, for my personal finance. And I encourage people to do exactly the same thing. At the end of every quarter, at the end of every half year, at the end of every year, we just start in the last quarter of the year. It's a good time for you to just check how far you've gone. Okay, this is how I started 3 months ago. Where am I now? What am I doing well? What am I not doing well? What strategy can I change? That is tracking your project. If you're doing well, say well done to yourself. Give yourself a high five, pat yourself on the back. Give yourself a treat. I remember when I did this exercise in September, I bought myself a big, large skinny latte in Costa. It might look small, but I don't do it often. So I bought myself a big skinny latte. I love skinny latte as a treat to encourage you. Doing well, girl. So I want to encourage you, take action and do yourself MOT. What have I done wrong? What can I learn on this journey? This is the very last slide, and I'm going to pause because I know one has to ask questions. You see, on your financial empowerment journey, 3 words for you, and I'm just going to be my last word. Don't give up. If I tell you it's easy, then I'm lying. If it is easy, everybody will be financially free. It is not easy. It takes a lot of determination. It takes a lot of hard work. It takes a lot of grit. And I'll give you a very good example. It takes a lot of grit and determination that I want a better future for not only for myself, but for the generation to come after me when it comes to our finances. You see, while I was growing up, money was tight. Money was tight for my mother. Money was tight for my mother's mother, my grandmother. And the generation before that, I didn't know them. And it got to a time I sat down, I said, from me and the generations to come after me, I'm rewriting that history. Money will not be tight for us. I'm changing the legacy. Lack, want, living paycheck to paycheck ends in their generation. I'm rewriting the story. That is part of my why. So let your why encourage you. You see, another part of my why is I want to be blessed to be a blessing. See, charitable giving to things of the kingdom advancement is something I live and breathe. And I know I cannot give what I don't have. I say, God, that's part of my why. As God is enlarging my course on this journey, I'm pouring into things of God. So I want you to have a why. Why are you pursuing financial empowerment? I said a big why for me is changing the history, rewriting the story. Let me give you a simple testimony, a simple story of myself about not giving up. My first degree was in computer science, and then I diversified, studied accounting. I remember writing my final exam before becoming a chartered accountant. For accountants in the house, I did SEMA. I don't know whether you did ACCA or ICAW. Well, I did SEMA. The very last exam. I failed this exam 3 times. You will not believe it. I've never failed any of them. But this particular one, it was as if the devil sat there. You're not going to cross this line, eh? You'll not even get there. And I know that me passing that exam is quite significant. But this is talking about not giving up. Every failure I re-register, I redo it. Every failure I re-register, I do it. After the 4th round, I passed. And I'll tell you the significance of me passing. Do you know what pushed me? What pushed me to keep registering for this exam was my why. Oyenike, why do you want to be a chartered accountant? So that I can rewrite the history. So that I can change the legacy. So I can stop living paycheck to paycheck. So I can be blessed to be I keep reminding myself of my why I started this journey in the first place. That motivates me to continue. That motivates me not to give up. The 4th time I passed this exam. And the significance of passing that exam is I became a chartered accountant. Means my value in the marketplace was doubled. I was earning like an amount before, and the next job I got as a qualified accountant was double what I was earning before. That was one of the things that fast-tracked my pain of my debt. What I've used 4 years to clear, I cleared it within 2 years. Don't give up on your journey. It's going to be tough. It might look as if it's slow, but keep at it. Let your why keep pushing you. Don't settle. Don't settle. I can't stress this enough. Look, I'll share my another personal story. When I came to England 22 years ago, the first job I got, I was selling phone on Oxford Circus in London. In case you don't follow Lifted Finance, I'm on all the social media platforms. I share a lot of all this stories. Follow it. I'm on Twitter, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, I'm on LinkedIn. Just follow it, just to glean. This is knowledge is power about personal finance. And listen to experience of people that have been there, done it. Got a face cap. So my first job was selling phone on Oxford Circus. And I was so grateful for that job. They were paying me £7 per hour. I will never forget. That was as far back as 22 years ago in London. £7 per hour. Every day when I wear the T-shirt of that phone company, I'm always grateful. At least I'll be able to pay some of my bills. It met my need at that time. But you know what? I never settled. I did not settle to be a phone seller on Oxford Circus. I believe that I am destined to be better, to a better job than what I was doing in that season. It's not as if I'm bad-mouthing people that sell phone. No. But as for me, I know I'm worth more than that job I was doing at that time. Before I came to here, I was a fully certified Oracle certified professional. I was earning good money in Lagos when I was working. So how can I downgrade myself from that light to be selling permanently be a phone seller or not? No, it's not a testimony. Light is not shining. You know, the Bible says the path of the just is just like a shining light that shines brighter and bright. You're supposed to be getting better as you walk in the Lord, and as you do His will, and as you walk on this journey of faith with Him. So I refuse to settle. Do you know, I'm a very loyal friend. I'm still in touch with some of those my friends that we used to sell for 22 years ago. And 22 years after, those people, they are still selling phone on Oxford Circus. They're still doing that same job. I've moved on. I've gone back to school. I've added more value to myself. I'm a completely different space than where I was so many years ago. This is to push somebody off your comfort zone today. Don't say job is job. No, job is not job. You can do better. You can earn better. You can live better. You can actually enjoy God here on earth without financial struggle. Don't settle. And the last bit, ask for help. Don't be proud. You see, asking for help is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of strength, actually. Ask for help. When I was working for my dad, I didn't have anybody around my cycle that is debt free. In fact, everybody around me, they were living large. They were living in houses they couldn't afford. They were driving cars they couldn't afford. They normalized debt. And this is me just looking, I know it's in the Bible that I will lend to nations, I will not borrow. That owe no man nothing except for love. As in, I want to experience these portions of the Bible in my life. So I reached out. I reached out to audiences I don't even know. I joined a lot of Facebook groups that they're all over the world. I don't even know where they exist, but they exist somewhere in the world. America, Canada, Australia, all over. I started listening to them. I started learning from them. I started listening to how to budget. I started listening and learning how to separate needs from want. And it's just a journey. It's a journey. I'm still on this journey. I'm not there yet. But ask for help. I started asking questions. I started reading books. I started going for joining platforms like this where they talk about financial empowerment. They will never beg me to connect to an audience like this. I don't know. We started with just 4 people. I'm hoping I can't see the number of people. I'm hoping more people have joined us. But when you're hearing they're talking about finance, be excited to join in. Make time. And that is it. Ask for help. I've said so much. I'm going to stop there. Recap. We talked about money issues. We talked about financial empowerment. And we talked about what can we do to be financially empowered. Asking ourselves these 3 questions: where are you? Where do you want to go? And how do you get there? And I wrapped up by talking about encouragement on the journey. I do this every time. I had a session last week. I have another session next week. I have another session in 2 weeks' time. And I always say, what will make this session a worthwhile session is if you take action. So many gems I've dropped today. I'm going to look at questions, whether they're questions. But I want you to choose. Choose whether to act on it or choose to say, oh, same old, we've had it in the past, and remain on the same level. Taking action separate those that are going to be financially successful from those that will continue to live paycheck to paycheck. Taking action separate those that will make it when it comes to their finances and end life of struggle, or those that will continue to beg from hands to mouth. I hope that has blessed you. Thank you. I think that's my last slide. God bless you.
Wow. Thank you very much again, Mr. Oyenike. We really, really feel impacted today. I feel like every time you come over to give us a seminar or 2, you always impact us tremendously. Last time we knew we could pay off mortgage early. Today, I'm just wowed. And I've got a lot of questions from myself, and I'm sure a lot of people have questions as well. So I would like to go to our audience first to see if anyone has questions before I bombard you with my questions.
Yeah, I want you to feel free.
Please feel free to ask any.
There's no silly questions. And then trust me, I'm hoping that no question will be left on hard after this session. So please ask questions. This is a good opportunity to just throw it out. If you don't want to ask, you can just private message me. You don't want anybody to hear it. And I'll be here. I'm always still around to support and answer your questions. God bless.
I guess.
I have a question.
Go for it.
Thank you so much for this really impactful session. God bless you. It's been really, really eye-opening. My question is about paying off your mortgage. I must say that I've read and I've seen so many videos online saying that, you know, paying off your mortgage is not smart and you should always use the bank loan to try to build wealth. In terms of what you've advised and your testimony as well, how do you think we can build investments being debt-free? Like, for instance, I'll personalize the question. As someone who wants to probably go into having multiple real estate investments, how do you do that being debt-free? Because I think debt is like the pathway to be able to achieve that. Thank you.
Yeah, you're very right. That's a very, very good question. So debt is a tool, and I completely agree with that. Debt is a tool. Now, when we cleared our mortgage, a lot of people said exactly what you just said. A lot of people say, "Oh, why will you? why will you pay off your mortgage when your interest rate is just 2% or something like that?" Yeah, I hear that. Those set of people now, they are fighting back on Vigilant, and all of them are waiting for the October budget, the 30th of October, waiting for waiting for the next interest rate, Bank of England to announce the next interest rate. Yeah, at that time, the main motivation for us, and this is a personal thing. It's not a I'm not. That's why I started with anything you hear from me is based from personal experience. It's not a financial advice. Is so many people actually they are mortgage free. Maybe the category of people around your cycle they are not. But I'm here to tell you, I've known so many people that are, the house they live in, their residential is mortgage free. So we decided because when I finished paying off my personal loan, I just told my dear husband, I said, I want us to really enjoy and experience this debt freedom. And can we tackle our mortgage and see? It's a project, just like a goal, and see if we can pay it off. And I'm going to tell the strategy. Strategy. I think I said the last time as well. I was on this platform that we adopted in clearing the mortgage. See, we don't have any inheritance. We're just two hardworking people that just trust God every day on every step of the journey. And he said, "Oh, can we?" I said, "It's gonna be a goal, just like a lot of people have so many goals. It's just gonna be a goal." And at that time, I think we were in Nationwide, and we called Nationwide, and we asked them for the balance of the mortgage. The balance at the time was, I think, around 70 or 80,000 pounds on our mortgage. One thing we have always consistently do, we have consistently paid extra every month on our mortgage. So let's just say the mortgage bill is like £1,000. We consistently pay like extra £500 every month on our mortgage balance. And every lender will allow you to overpay on your mortgage. You just need to find out the percentage. So there's always a percentage you can overpay up to a particular percentage. If you're on this is not interest only. I'm talking about the normal remortgage, the normal the
repayment.
Exactly, mortgage. So they will always tell the amount, maybe 5%, 10%, but make sure you find their percentage. Because if you pay more than that's another issue, then you start paying fines. So we always pay extra, and we've done it for a very long time. Now, do this exercise and just go online and just go mortgage calculator and just put normal amount you pay and just put the adding extra, you just put it over a period. You see how much, number one, you're going to save on the capital you're owing, and it's going to cut down on the number of terms remaining on your mortgage. It's always a good thing to do if you have this vision of becoming mortgage free. So that was what we did for a very long time. So towards the end, we just started finding out what is the balance. So Nationwide told us, I think it was around 80,000 there, but I think we still had like 8 to 9 months on the current fixed term we had at the time. So my husband and I said, okay, we give ourselves, this is a goal. Today we talked about short-term goal, medium-term goal, long-term goal. This is a short-term goal. Within 12 months, we will look for this balance of 80,000. And that was how we did it. We worked hard. We have shares. We sold some of our shares. And by the time that mortgage term ended, we did not sign another mortgage term. We paid it off. And that is it. See, When some people said it's a stupid move. But I can tell you, the kind of experience and peace that surrounds you, having the house that covers your head, not adding debt on it, no one can explain it to you until you experience it. Whatever goes on in Bangkok is none of our problem. The only bill we pay in this house is just utility bills, and it is sweet, I can tell you. So it's a personal choice, whether you choose. It's a choice, and life is a lot of choices. But this is a residential property. You asked two questions, so I'm attacking the residential property. But I can assure you that that's one of the best decisions we made in that season we made it. Because so many of our friends, they are now asking us how. But at this time, their mortgage rate is now like 7%, 8%. They are feeling the pinch big time. Getting their mortgage, getting a remortgage is taking them a lot of stress. But we thank God that we are enjoying it. In fact, it's part of a testimony, because a lot of people that I know that mortgage free, they're not even believers. That's why I said a lot of people are mortgage free, but they're just not around your cycle. They exist. That is that. So it's a personal choice. Should we do it? If you have a windfall and you're able to pay big lump sum at the end of every term, and that's another thing. And when you paying the extra, let your lender know that the extra you're putting is towards the capital, not towards the interest, because that's a big one. So let's just say the loan amount is 150,000, and you want to drop a lump sum, because you always have that opportunity at the end of every term before you sign another new contract term. Tell them you want to drop like 50,000 pounds or something like that, that you want it to count towards your capital. And if you drop it in chunks like that, when you have win rate 4, you'll be pleasantly surprised. Our mortgage, when we sign it on a term of 30 years, but we finish paying it in 14 years. If we can do it, so can you. All right, and I'll now address the issue of real estate investment. You're very right, debt is used as a tool. Debt is used as a tool because how many people can afford to drop down? You want to buy a real estate investment of 220 pounds. How many people have that kind of money? So yes, real estate is separated. I always separate that from your personal, from your own, from the property you live in. So real estate is an investment that you expect equity to build, investment that you expect over the long term to yield increase for you. Okay, it's different from residential. I'm talking about real estate investing now. So if you buy a property, a friend of mine bought a property in central London, around King's Cross area, like 10 years ago, a flat. She bought it for 500, for almost 400,000. A flat around King's Cross, around that 10 years ago. It was so expensive then. Where would she have got 400,000? But of course she got a mortgage for it. She put in a big lump sum as as deposit. So, but she still got like 75% loan to value in terms of the value to pay of that property. Now I'm telling this story about what real estate investment entails. She renting the property. She recently revalued the property. Now she's still paying the mortgage. Well, the property she bought for 400,000 10 years ago, the current valuation of that property in that location is like 2.1 million. So you can just imagine over 10 years, this is talking about the equity of the property as so much times 10 in terms of the value. That is a profit making, it's a business, it's a profit making venture. If this woman was to sell the property today, she's not in debt. So when you talk about the value, the equity of the property, and the amount of loan you borrowed. I think she borrowed just, of course, over 10 years, she's paid down the amount she borrowed. I think she borrowed around 230,000 or something. Like she's paid it down. So always think of it that way. Separate in business, separate it from your living when it comes to property. So your residential separate, have a demarcation. But real estate, the focus is you have to make profit. At the time when my friend was renting out a property, it was still very hard because the mortgage was on the property at the time was around 2,000 pounds. But you can just imagine that 2,000 pounds as a rent in London, it's not everybody could afford it. So she wasn't making a lot of money out of renting the property at the time. But right now with the equity of the property, she's really well made when it comes to the value of the return she's got in that investment. So use debt, as I'm ramping up by saying, use debt as a tool, but don't over leverage. Use it as a leverage. As a leverage, I always encourage people, if you want to go into real estate investment, work towards putting 25% deposit down. In fact, a lot of lenders actually request for that. So 25% as a deposit towards the loan. So you're not getting, I don't know whether they give 100% anymore now. But as a personal story of myself, because I have real estate investment, I borrowed my property is in Liverpool, and Liverpool is an area where the property value is not very expensive. But the good thing is it's good for cash flow, it's not very good for equity. So the person I bought the property from sold it to me for 67,000 or thereabout. But the person bought it for 60,000. So you can just imagine. And she had the property for almost like 15 years. So over 15 years, only 7,000 equity on that property. So properties in those areas, they don't really increase in equity very much, but cash flow is quite good. I said it as an instance because when I got that mortgage, my focus is number one, to put as much money down towards the deposit as possible. I got a loan for it, but I see it as under the business. It's not under my personal name, it's under the limited company. And I always give myself a goal of making sure that within 3 years or within 4 years, I paid all this off. I can do it because the value of my property is very, very small. So that eventually all the income I'm getting in terms of cash flow is going to be 100% of mine. I'm not paying any to bank. Don't over leverage. Some people go into the habit of having as many, they sell, they buy, they sell, they keep borrowing and keep borrowing. If you have ever read about what happened in the 2008 financial market, when a lot of people that over leverage, especially in mortgage, they went under, a lot of them had to declare bankruptcy because it seems as if the value of the property just should so down that they couldn't even sell. If they want to sell, they will be selling at a loss. And they were so much in debt, a lot of them declared bankruptcy. So this is wisdom when you're talking about investing and when you're talking about real estate. I just hope I've not confused you, and I hope I answered some of those questions.
Yes, you've answered the question so very well. Thank you for the clarity on that. It's really, really useful. God bless you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much again. Any other question?
Can I ask a question, please?
Yeah, go for it, bro.
Yes, please.
Yeah. So again, thank you for taking us through this. It's been quite informative and inspiring as well. So one of your slides caught my attention, and it's something that I've thought about many times, but it's just an area that I would say I'm a kind of novice when it comes to that, especially in this country. I mean, used to know more about, and I'm talking about this brokerage investment. So I think I used to know more about that when I was in Nigeria, but it is in this country, I just don't know as much as I would like to. So if one were to venture into such investment, what would be the step to take, and how do you know that you are actually making the right move in terms of which sector to invest in, or how much is good enough to start off? And yeah, it's just something like that, because I know it's always a good venture, but then that's only if you get it right.
Absolutely. That's a very fantastic question, brother. Thank you so much for asking. See, I'm so passionate about investment that I wrote 2 books about it because it's one of the things a lot of people don't do. But there's no two way about it. The only way your money grows is by investing. So if you really want to enjoy this thing called financial empowerment, you have to invest. And what you've described is like stock market investing. I'm going to touch base on it. There's so many other ways of investing money. So my sister Coinsala talked about real estate is another. So we have different asset classes. So we have equities, which is stock. We have the fixed income, which are bonds. We have real estate investment. We have the commodities. So we talk about coins. We talk about coins, oils, metals, things like that, or gold. So we have different asset classes. But I encourage people, you cannot afford to just be saving alone. Saving will not make you wealthy, unfortunately. In fact, for every money you leave in your savings account, apart from emergency savings, that one you leave it in the safe. That one has to be liquid cash. But I'm talking about if you have extra after you sorted your emergency savings out. Um, the money in terms of the purchasing power of the money keeps going down if you just rely and depend on just savings alone. Investing is very, very important. Now, there are rules of investing. And one of the rules of investing is you must not invest in what you don't understand. That's why I love that your question so much. He said, while you were in Nigeria, you understand the concept of stock market investing. Now, the big assignment I want to give you is I need you to go and learn and understand the concept of investing in this part of the economy as well, because it's all learnable. You must not invest in something you don't know, you don't understand. And it doesn't take if I always say where there is a will, there's always a way. If you are interested in something, you will make time. You will make time in reading. I told you I wrote 2 books. You will make time in buying books. YouTube is like a university on its own now with so much knowledge into it. Type it there. How do I start investing in the UK? You'll be blown over by so many wealth of knowledge and information in there. Make it a commitment to yourself that you want to understand how investing works in this part of the economy. And that is one of the best gifts you can go give yourself. Because by the time you dabble into how to go about it, you already know what you want. You already know the kind of asset classes you want to invest in. You already done your homework. You already know the kind of brokerage company you sign up with because you are fully equipped with knowledge. You see, nobody will do that work for you except you want to employ a personal financial advisor to sort that out for you. And even I work as a personal financial advisor. If you ever employ one, if you can afford one to employ one, then you must be able to understand what they are investing on your behalf. So that is one homework, sir. I want you to take it out. I want you to understand how investing works in this part of the economy. Since you already have the background knowledge of how it works, it's not different. It's just a different click to it. We have more access to things. We have more opportunity. We have more options to choose from. Now, once you understand the dynamics of what you really want, you can then connect yourself to avid investors. You see, I invest. I'm an avid investor. Connect people that have been there, done it. Let them share the experience on the good, bad, the ugly. Let me give an example. I opened a brokerage account for for somebody not long ago. And of course, before I opened a brokerage account, I explained everything. She understands. She's done all her homework. She does it. And this woman will not let me rest. Look at this money is going down. Look at this money is going down. Because if you really say you've done your homework and you understand what investing means, you know that there will be time when there's going to be deep, and there'll be time where there's going to be that's how the stock market operates. It goes up and it goes down. But over the long term, and I say over the long term. So I always say that if you need your money in the next 5 years, less than 5 years, don't even invest. Put it in a savings account. And there's so many high yield interest in savings account right now that you can still earn like 2%, 3% interest on it. But if you want to close your eyes and just say, I really want to do this invest, always have a target of like 5 years minimum. And then that's when serious. It's a long-term thing. It's not short-term. Now, she started disturbing me. This money keeps, I said, why are you checking it every day? Just leave it. Just leave it. I only check mine twice a year. I checked it not long ago and I saw my return on investment was 30 something. I said, whoo, amazing. And I left it. I'll check again around New Year or December time. So that's the first thing. Don't invest in what you don't understand. Do the homework. Now, when you've done this homework and you've spoken to people about what are you investing in, one thing I always encourage people that want to dip their feet into investing in the UK is start your investment journey by not picking up stock, by not picking up individual company to invest in. Invest in index fund, invest in mutual funds. And I'll explain what index funds means. Index fund, if you've ever heard of S&P 500, S&P 500 is the top 500 companies in America that is controlling the economic power of the US. So any company you can think of, they're there. In fact, I think we call them the big seven. Apple is there, Microsoft is there, Amazon is there, Alphabet, which is Google, is there, Nvidia is there, Tesla is there, Meta is there. All those companies and lots more, they make up all these the top 500 that constituting a lot of the financial market in America. They're all embedded in S&P 500. So if I buy a little fractional share of S&P 500, I'm not only investing in Microsoft, I'm not only investing in Tesla, I'm investing in all the 500 at the same time, in little pie, little proportion. And as long as they are doing well, and trust me, these companies are doing well, your money will continue to grow. So I encourage people, when you want to dip your feet in investing, you want to start by going for index fund. The equivalent of it is equivalent of S&P 500 US is FTSE 100. So if you've ever had a FTSE 100, all the banks, all the top 100 companies that are controlling the financial economy of the UK, all the banks are in there. Any big company, all the pharmaceuticals, they're all in there. Google it. F&B countries that make up S&P 500, you see all of them. Companies that make up FTSE 100, you see all of them. Buy a little fractional index, like £100 in there, and just leave it. Let compound interest do its thing. Consistently put into it. In terms of brokerage company is just like that. I just see it like the vehicle that allow you to buy shares and sell shares. You know, stock market is just like a market. You buy, you sell. So what makes that possible? That platform that makes the buying and selling possible are these brokerage companies. And there are quite a lot of them. So we have Vanguard, we have Fidelity, we have Agris and Lansdowne, we have AJ Bell. Google it. So many of them. And so many of them have sold their ups and their advantages, disadvantages based on people's reviews. So that's part of the homework you do. I personally am investing in, I have my major investments with Vanguard. In fact, all of my household, including for my kids, including for my husband, we're all on Vanguard. But it's not as if Fidelity is bad. It's not as if Agris and Lansdowne is bad. But just find one based on your information that you found. And it's very easy to open. Just like it's easy to open a bank account. Follow step by step. Open a stock and shares ISA account on vanguard.co.uk and follow it through. Now, part of doing your own work is, I'm talking about investing alone, but I'm going to wrap up now so I can help Dr. Dolapo to ask his own question. But you can connect with me and we can talk more if you have more questions, if you still have more questions. Part of doing your homework is also to know what to invest in. So I've talked about investing in index funds, invest in mutual funds, and just leave it, let it grow. Consistently put money towards it, and just watch your money multiply exponentially. Start small. I remember when I started, I could only squeeze £100 every month. Start small. A lot of people, they are not investing because they think they need a lot of money to start investing. No, you start small. When you feel comfortable, you can increase it along the way. But I always say before you start investing, make sure you don't have high-paying debt hanging around the shoulder. And I'll quickly say that, and I'm going to stop this. High-paying debt, there's some debt. Someone's telling me they're paying almost 47%, 47% interest on a debt, on one loan she got. I'll be almost 57%. I said, what? How did they even allow those companies to even operate? So if you have high paying debt, or you're paying anything above like maybe 12%, 15%, focus on clearing that debt. I said that because if you have high paying debt and you're investing at the same time, the rate of return you get from your investment is around between 8% and 10%, roughly. Over time, it increases. So imagine you're paying a debt and servicing 35% in paying debt. And you're saying you're investing and you're just bringing in 8%. It doesn't add up. So focus on paying high interest debt. Get them out of the way so that you just know that this investing, the interest you're getting on it, it's yours and yours alone. You're not servicing debt in another platform through it. I hope that helps. But the most important thing is just education. Knowledge is power. Go on platform, attend events that I've talked about investing, and equip yourself with knowledge for you to be able to do it with all confidence and do what will make you sleep well at night. Don't invest in Bitcoin because everybody is doing it. Don't invest in buy single stock of Tesla is what everybody's doing because everybody's doing. No. Do the homework yourself and do something that will let you sleep. I always say sleep well at night is so important when investing. So, and you can only say you achieve that when you've done your homework and you're confident in what you invest, putting your money towards. I hope that helps. God bless
you. Yes, it does. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you again, Brawley. Thank you. I guess one of my questions, Brawley and Sister Koinsola, they've asked a bit about it. Let's say, for example, now you have 30 to 40,000 pounds and you want to invest this. Would you put it in property portfolio or into Vanguard? Because I was very lucky enough to know about Vanguard early on in 2017 when I joined a company in Oxford, and our pension was straight into Vanguard. And I can tell you from that time to now, I've gotten 25% increase in my pension already. I can't access it, but it's very lovely that I want to even invest my personal savings in Vanguard S&P 500. So I know about that. But one of the things we see now online is that they're telling us, like the influencers are saying, property portfolio is dead. Just invest in Vanguard S&P 500. What would
invest
you
in stocks?
In stocks. Yes, in stocks. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay, that's all right. Oh, okay. So my take on that. Okay, is that's the question, right?
That's the question. That's the question.
So I always ask this question: that what do you want? Because I'm invested in both of them. So I will tell you from experience the good, the bad, the ugly, right? So the first thing is, what do you want? So if you choose to invest in the stock market, it's 100% passive. Passive in the sense that you don't do anything. You just literally set that money on autopilot every month, and it automatically goes in there. And as long as whatever what asset class you buy, whatever it's doing, the money will continue to grow. You don't do anything. It's passive. So from time to time, just check, oh, this money is increasing, fantastic, and just leave it. Passive. Nothing. You don't need to do anything. And I love that. A lot of people love that. Real estate is not passive. Real estate, you do work. So it depends. That's the first thing I ask, that what exactly do you fancy? What do you want? I always talk about diversification of investing. So it's good to, you see, this part of the Bible, don't put all your exactly. There's a scriptural reference relating to it, but I always say don't put all your eggs in one basket. So I encourage people to diversify their investment portfolio as well. I have a little bit of experience on real estate. The real estate investment, the physical property, is a venture that it's not easy to get into. Why? Because of the capital requirement of the requirements to step into that kind of investing part, because you will need a lot of money. So if someone comes to me today and say they want to start real estate, I say, how much do you have saved up for deposit? So if you buy a property for, let's just say 200,000, and they say you're putting 25% deposit, trust me, it's not 25%. I will tell people that round it up, add another 5% on top of it. Because by the time you start adding lender something fee, adding solicitor fee, adding by the time all those fee add up to it, it's going to be exponentially more than 25%. It's going to be roughly between additional, maybe like 3 to 5% added on top of it. So it is capital intensive. You need money before you buy the real property. So that is always like a barrier to entry for a lot of people. But if you're here under the sound of my voice, you still want to invest in real estate, there's an easy way to do it through the stock market. It's called REITs. I've not answered your question, but I just want to quickly drop this. It's called REIT. It's called REITs. It's called Real Estate Investment Trust. Just like we have S&P 500, right? We have the REITs as well. The conglomerate of a lot of big real estate companies. You see, all of them together. You just buy a little fractional shares, or maybe like 50 pounds or 100 pounds. You are investing in real estate, but just not with the physical building, and your money will still exponentially grow. All the platforms, they have REITs. So if you go to Fidelity, they have whatever they call it, but you see REITs in there. Vanguard, they have their own as well. So that is just one thing in there. But I love diversification. Diversification in the sense that we're not putting all our egg in one basket. I love stock market investing because it is under. You don't do anything. But real estate, trust me. If you ever go on any of my platform, I shared a story of myself recently this week about my property in Liverpool that was vandalized by a tenant. And that's just one of those things, challenges of real estate. You must be able to weather the storm. You see, if you are blessed to have a good tenant that will look after your property as if is their own, then that is amazing. But it doesn't always work like that in real life. So I had this tenant that did not pay for 8 months. He just refused to pay. What do you do? Tenants have authority now. They have rights. You can't just get them out anytime. Those are part of the things you factor in. So if I were to have a mortgage on that property and, I rely on the tenant's rent in paying the mortgage, then what will have happened to me in 8 months? You can imagine my friend that has a rental property in the center of London paying like almost 2,500 in mortgage, and the tenant refused to pay. How will she survive? This kind of thing. These are part of the challenges. But that's not to discourage you, because it's just one of those things that you prepare yourself with. You prepare yourself in. So if you didn't pay, another set of money I had to spend to get legal action to kick him out. He left that building trashed. Go on in my Instagram page or Facebook and you're going to hear the story because I shared it. And, amounts to restore the property back was almost 21,000, which I don't have. Can just imagine. And they couldn't sue anybody because there's no proof that the tenant did it. But, I was just blessed that insurance still paid me off. I was able to restore the property back. But those are part of the challenges of real estate. So there are challenges. It's under. It's not under. It is not passive. It is very active. Yes, you will say that I have a management company that manages the property for me. But all the management company does, they can't force a tenant that doesn't want to pay. They can't force him. All they do is they do the credit check for the tenant for me to make sure that the person can afford to pay the rent. They do the referencing for me. And then they collect this money every month and take their percentage as their own commission every month. But still, you still have a lot to do. I have one tenant that there is no week this person doesn't message and say there's something wrong with the property. He said, oh, I found rats. The estate agent, the management company is asking, should they send a rat doctor? Rat doctor payout fees, £200 for payout fee, rat doctor. And I was just like, what kind of stress is this one now? So found rats today. You spent £200 to get rat doctor. Tomorrow you said you found the window is not closing well. You find somebody to send in. For every call out, you pay money. Those are extra stress. So it's not under. So, but it's a stress that I don't regret, because when you see real estate, I see it as a long-term. I see it as a long-term investing. It's not quick money. It's not get rich quick kind of venture. So if you're able to close your eyes and just see it as maybe in the next 10, 20 years, maybe that will be my retirement, cash flow in, where you don't have any mortgage on it, 100% coming in is yours, then I will say to go for it, but be prepared before you step into it. Is that okay? And I will say again that put as much down as deposit as possible, so that your loan to value, the amount you're actually borrowing on that property, is not significant. And another thing is, most real estate, if you buy it under a company name, which I always recommend because of tax purposes, they always ask for 25% deposit as a minimum. You can do more if you have more. And another thing is, they always give it out as an interest-only mortgage. Interest only is not a mortgage. It's not like the proper way live it. Interest only means throughout the period while they lend you the money, you're only paying the interest. So at the end of the term, the mortgage term, you still have the old debt. So you borrowed, so let's just say you borrowed like 100,000 on a property, and they say it's interest only. So for the old duration of, let's just say 3 years term, you're only paying into, you still owe that 100,000 at the end of the 3 years. So those are part of the knowledge you have to just equip yourself in. That yes, it must if this cash flow is coming in, you're only paying a little bit of mortgage every month, but at the end of the term, you still hold this amount of debt that you have to find a way of paying off. But I've got 2 properties in my portfolio, and I just see it as a learning curve every day. I'm learning every day as I enjoy this journey. But it's a good diversification strategy if you want to venture it. I'm looking at the time.
Yeah, sorry. Same here.
It's okay.
I guess I'll just ask one more question, and then I can added you on Facebook, so I can ask more questions later on.
No problem.
My wife has always been saying about this 50, 30, 20 rule. So I just wanted to say if is it possible to have 50% for tax for the needs, 20% for savings, and 30% on things you don't necessarily need, like things. Should we diversify that 30% into savings?
Oh, I like your wife. I like her. She does that stuff. Okay, so that's one of those budgeting models that they always recommend. But it is not black and white. You can make it whatever, the percentage, whatever you want. So there was a season in my life. So just like you say, 50%, 50, 30, 20 rule. And 50% are for your needs, all your necessities. So all the food, the bills, the utilities, the house, the major bills, the needs. And then the 30% are for your wants. So for your wants, like things like nice to have.
Yes.
Just like holidays, gym membership, they all fall into ones. They're good. We all life to be enjoyed. You understand? I love working out. I go to the gym like 3-4 times a week. I've got a personal trainer. Those are ones. They fall into that 30% bracket. Netflix fall into that bracket. Exactly. And then the last 20% is for savings, if you have debt, and for investing, as they always categorize. But it's not rocket science. You can split it. So there was a season in my personal life where my need was just the proportion was 40, 10, 40, 10. You can split it as many as you want. And I was explaining 40, 10, 40, 10 to you. 40 were my needs. 10 was my want. As in, I wasn't doing any gym. I was running on the street for my exercise because it's a necessity. So 40 was my need. 10 was my want. And I have a big 40% that I put towards savings and clearing my debt. Big 40%. And the remaining 20% was for giving. I always have a pot for giving. In fact, I budgeted every month giving pot. Now, you cannot cut it. Right now, we are mortgage free. We don't have much needs in this house. So if I can say that our proportion now, apart from paying for the girls' school fees, they go for private schools, apart from that, I would just say our need, the proportion is like maybe 20% for needs. Maybe we still live simple. Maybe 20% for wants. That bucket of saving and investment is gone from like 20% to almost like 50% for me right now. And my giving pot is like 30%. Because that is the stage I'm in now. So plan it based on where you are on your journey, your financial journey. It's always like, it's not black and white. That's just the way I see it. Whatever means to you at every stage, you can reapportion it. But just make sure that you balance things out. I hope that helped. Say well done to your wife for me.
Yes. And I'll pass on to Pastor, I think, as a question, and he will give us the final word.
Thank you.
Wow, praise the Lord. I don't know. I want to sing a song. This girl is on fire. Do you know that song?
Yes, sir.
He's all good.
Oh, more. No, I mean, I just want, if it's possible for every one of us to say, God bless you, Sister Oyenike, please do that. Just unmute yourself and say, God bless you, Sister Oyenike, please.
God bless you, Sister Oyenike.
We appreciate it.
Thank you very much. We truly appreciate you. Today, you have not just come to speak to us, you have come to impact us, and we are grateful. Thank you so very much. I follow you on Facebook and I read your stories. That's the way I learn. And things you started Lifted Finance, I've been reading and I've been learning, and I can testify that my knowledge of finances is increasing. We are not there yet, but I'm going forward. I'm not where I was last year with my finances. In fact, because we were very intentional, this is the second financial education we are having in our church this year, and we're not going to stop. And we are going to send you quickly our date for next year, because we know that you are getting busy, and I'm super, super proud of you. I'm super, super proud of you. I am super proud of you, because one of the ways you know people that are growing is when you listen to them speak. I listened to you last year. This is another level, and we are grateful to God for that. It's so impactful. About investing in stocks. I like the idea of investing into stock that'll be giving me
Dividend.
Well, that'll be giving me a
Income.
return. What do you call it? Passive income. Passive income. That won't have to do anything. However, I wouldn't say I wasn't scared, but I'm just being careful. Right now, I have one they call Trade 212 or something like that. I have Trade 212. However, I don't have the time to go. One of my boys that say I should open it will say to me, Pastor, go and sell your thing. I would even forget when they call me. So that one is there. Every now and then I check it. But I'm interested in the one I'll just put money, and the money will be growing. So I want us to do something before we go tonight. And the reason is, 2 years ago, I think just before COVID or during COVID or after COVID, I invested into one of those companies, and since then I said, no, I'm not going to do anything like that. It was God that saved me, because I don't keep quiet. So I invested into this company. I just felt like something is not right. Then I called up my friend. I said, you do trading and everything. Can you tell me about this? He said, anytime you want to invest, check if the company is under FCA. They are conducted by financial service, whatever you call them. Is the FCA you call it?
That's correct, sir.
Yeah. So I went to check the company, and they were not. I said, no, my money is gone. So I quickly called the bank, and long story short, I got the money back, and I'm grateful to God, because I'm not, So I want to do something. I just want you to guide us. Let me quickly share this, then we'll finish. Now, this is SP500. Is this what we are talking about? The Vanguard one you're talking about? Is it this one at the top or this one at the bottom?
Okay, so just take Vanguard out and just put S&P 500.
S&P 500.
Yes.
Okay, let me do that. So that we'll not go and put our money in the wrong place. Okay. S&P 500.
Put and. Yeah.
This one?
Put the ampersand. Oh yes, S&P 500. Don't I don't want to put any company. Go down. There's S&P 500 ISA UK. Scroll all the way.
Scroll down.
No. So I want you to type in S. Just put ampersand in between S and the P. Or
okay.
It's right down on that list.
Okay. On that list, I know what you're saying.
500 ISA UK.
S&P. This one.
That's
this
fine.
one.
Yeah.
This one.
Yes. Now scroll down.
Okay.
Scroll down. Now, are you saying companies? Agri's loans down. Trading 212. Keep going. Agri's loan down. Keep going.
Which one is safe?
Let me finish. Keep going to UK. I'm saying that because you can buy these shares from there's so many brokerage. They call them brokerage companies.
But are they safe? That's my question.
Let me finish.
Shall I go down again?
No, that's fine. No. That's enough. It's just showing that some, like Fidelity is there, Vanguard sells it, Agri's London sell it. So many brokerage.
So companies. This one, Agri's London, is good.
That's what I use.
Okay.
There's no fake in S&P 500.
Okay, so if
it depends on the platforms that you decide to use your brokerage company. So I would not invest in just any brokerage company without me doing my own work.
But you have done it. Tell us which one should we
use? I'm using Vanguard UK.
Is it this one?
That is correct. That is
this
what
one that you're seeing.
That is what I'm using. Exactly.
Okay. All right.
Now,
okay.
Now I will say this though, that a lot of the brokerage company, they have to be FCA certified because
Eh,
they are on. That's when your money will be safe. Your
yes.
hard-earned money. There
Mm.
are some small platforms that you just
Yeah.
see that they don't exist anymore. Exactly. So
Yes.
that's part of the homework I want everyone to do.
Mm.
That okay, which platform should, and stick to one.
Mm.
Look, and there's a difference between trading and investing. You see, when I wrote my first book on investing, I dedicated a whole chapter to Bitcoin.
Mm.
And I knew I could only talk about Bitcoin if I am investing in it.
Yeah.
So I opened a trading account because Vanguard doesn't do Bitcoin. So I had to open a trading account for me to understand how Bitcoin works. So I opened eToro. eToro is one that does that. Trading 212, I think they do it as well. Now, I opened it because I just need to understand how this part of asset class, I need to understand how it works for me to write a book about it. And I started investing in Bitcoin. And trust me, I've made money out of Bitcoin. Now, one thing I will say is you don't lose your money if you don't sell. I say it again. You don't lose money when you're investing if you don't sell. So there was a time S&P 500, there was a time when we had the bear market, that the value were caught right in the middle of recession. All the values of your portfolio drops. As long as you just hold it, you don't sell, you don't make a loss. By the time we went into bull market and all the values goes up again, the value automatically is. You only lose money in investing in stock market when you sell.
Okay.
And when people panic sell, they sell at a loss. And that's when we have a lot of stories about, we lose money in the stock market. So that's why I always say that it's not trading. Trading is what, people call day traders.
Yes.
They sell this, they just watch the flow of the market and they buy high and they sell, they buy low and they sell
Yeah.
high.
Yeah.
But that is their job. I don't have time. I don't
Yeah.
have the knowledge as
Yeah.
well. So trading is always like fast sale, as in within 24 hours, they buy it and they sell, they make their money and they buy it again and they continue like that. That is trading. That is not investing. Investing is long term. And I just want to echo it again that once you decide on a very secure platform or brokerage you want to use, and you start small, whatever amount, leave it and let the money grow. Now, I've had to sell my S&P 500. When I bought the last property I bought, I think I needed 50,000 pounds, and I didn't have up to 50,000 pounds. So I sold some of the shares. I sold it and I sold it when S&P 500 was, as in probably when I bought it was like, let's just give an example, like I bought it for 10 pounds. But by the time I sold it, it was selling at 350 pounds. So I made a lot of money selling my S&P 500 shares. And I'm telling you, I sold 20,000 pounds worth of S&P 500 shares. I did not lose money. But these are shares I've bought over the years that have been there, that have accumulated and exponentially grow over the years. So that's just one thing I need to drop.
Thank you.
The right brokerage, secure brokerage, and just buy and hold and leave it and let it grow.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Another thing I will say at the back of all what you've said, thank you so much for pouring into us today for all those valuable information. What I've been taught, one of the things I did during COVID was to learn about property. I spent time and I spent money learning about property. And one of the things that I learned is that real estate is real business. It's capital intensive. We thank God for Sister Oyenike that we are hearing her story today, but you will hear from her that this thing takes time, patience, and planning. So even if we have planned to go into real estate, it is not over until God says it is over. And one of the things I'm learning personally is that God has invested so much power in us as believers. And as thank God for your testimony. She showed us our vision board, and how God has made all those things happen for her. So anyone that has plan, you have desire, there's a seed of desire in your heart, there's a vision, there's a dream that God has given you, write it down. Write it down. Write it down. This year, I was going to set my financial goals. thank God for technology. And I just brought out my phone. And then I can't remember what I did. And something popped up. I saw a financial goal I set in 2014 or thereabout. And I was like, wow, I have crossed that and I didn't even know. I was shocked. And that is why I said that we are powerful. We are powerful. We are children of God. We believe in the supernatural. You know, I like facts and figures, and I thank God for Sister Oyenike. I thank God for Robin. But there is what is called the supernatural. So when we add knowledge that we have had today to the supernatural, we'll go places. So my brothers and sisters, get ready because we are in a good faith. We are in a good time. Better days are ahead of us. God has not finished with us yet. Get ready. It's a good time to start planning our financial future. Start planning for next year. You can even plan now for the last quarter of this year. It is very important. I believe that we just need to put something down and the Lord will help us. Once again, on behalf of the church, the DORKAS, I want to say thank you to you, Sister Oyenike, for pouring to us. Thank you so much for your valuable time. And I have no doubt that everyone here, they were truly blessed. Thank you. So on this note, I think we should close. Dr. D, can we close? Yes, okay. Father, we just want to say thank you for tonight. Thank you for deep that call unto deep. The Bible says, my people are perished, or they are perished because they lack knowledge. Thank you, Lord, because through knowledge shall the just be delivered. Thank you for deliverance that has come. This is true deliverance. You have delivered us from death. You have delivered us from even depression, because research have told us that mental illness is attached to financial stress. Thank you for delivering us from financial stress. Thank you for imparting us with wisdom. And thank you, Lord, for grace to put to work what we have learned tonight. Lord, as a church, as DORKAS, we pray for your daughter that you cause her path to shine brighter and brighter. You cause her to make global impact in the name of Jesus Christ. You continually renew her strength. You will continue to bless the work of our hands. You will bless our household in the name of Jesus. Thank you, Father. We give you praise.
Thank you, Lord.
Jesus Christ's name. Amen.
Amen.
Friends, I'd like you to mark your calendars, mark your diaries. Every second Saturday, am I right, Dr. D? From 4 to 6, we'll be coming your way again. And on behalf of DORKAS, I want to say thank you to every one of you. And God bless you. Have a good evening.
You too,
thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now.
Thank you, Stan.
Bye-bye.